I will be interviewing my great aunt, Velma Bailey. Can you start off by telling us how old you are
I'm 78.
and where you grew up?
I grew up in Southern Illinois, in the country on a farm.
And did you grow up in a traditional family with a mother and father?
Yes, I did.
Yes? Okay. What was your experience in the workforce? Where did you work and stuff like that?
Well, I worked in many different capacities. I've been a switchboard operator, a stenographer, a secretary, an accountant, an insurance broker, and an attorney.
An attorney, wow.
Needless to say, there was training in between times.
And you are married.
Yes.
And based on your position in society, do you consider yourself privileged, oppressed, or a combination of both?
I think pretty much average.
Average. And how about when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, I was born in a three-room house on a farm that my father had just added 2 rooms onto because there were 5 in the family. We were poor. He farmed, he logged, he was a barber, a roofer, and so on. And by a streak of luck, he bought a farm that had good mineral rights on it that paid off. So by the time I was married, my parents were quite well-to-do, but we were not brought up that way. So we were privileged to an extent, but also we were privileged for the fact that we knew how to work for a living and didn't expect the world on a platter.
Yeah, that's good. What are your views on feminism, and do you consider yourself a feminist?
I don't know that I wouldn't be a bra-burning feminist by any means, but I believe in equal rights for women, and I have had situations where I definitely got the short end of the stick because I was a woman. One time I actually had to train 2 men who were brought in over me, and that was a very weird situation. And one employer would not furnish tuition for women, but would for men. So the men could go to college and the company would pay for it, but they would not pay for the women to do it. Needless to say, I left that employer and I went to one that did pay for my tuition.
What do you remember about feminism growing up?
I didn't think much about it when I was young. It wasn't until I got out in the workforce that I was faced with problems. My father always was a macho man, and he felt that men should rule except where his daughters were concerned. And where his daughters were concerned, he wanted us to be able to manage for ourselves and have all the opportunities that were there.
Yeah. Do you remember hearing about any big riots or anything when you were growing up?
Not when I was young.
But as you got older?
Well, around 1960. In the 1960s, yeah, there were riots around, mostly about Vietnam.
Were the women you knew feminists, such as your mom or other close relatives?
No, my mother was a homemaker, very lovely lady that was very surprised when her daughters actually did things out in the world. My oldest sister has got her master's degree in guidance counseling and lived and worked in Europe for 18 years before coming back here and retiring.
Wow.
And my second sister was a homemaker, very rarely worked, and when she did it was for just a short period of time. And of course, I worked, well, I applied for first job, after I was married, I think it was about 3 weeks later I applied, because I got bored at home. And I had taken a secretarial course in high school, so I was thinking that my shorthand wasn't good enough to be a secretary, but my typing was. And a friend of ours came over and dictated letters to me, because he was our best man already. And I was able to read them back to him, so he was just sure that I could do it. So I got the nerve to try, and I got a job working for the director of marketing, real estate for Pure Oil Company, and I worked there for a while. And then we went back to school in Carbondale, or Don went back to school in Carbondale, and I got a job as a switchboard operator down there. I took a little over $100 cut a month. I'd been started out at $300 a month, and when I got down there as a switchboard operator, I made $37.50 a week. That's a 40-hour week, really weird hours.
Hi, guys.
And after that, I got a job working on campus as a secretary, and that gave me a whopping $200 a month. And later we moved back to Chicago. We couldn't stand being poor, so we moved back to Chicago, and we both got decent jobs there. And while we were there, I had some very interesting jobs. I worked for a motion picture company, Wilding, which is the old S&A Studios, the very first motion picture studio in the United States.
Wow.
I was in their industrial shows department, and we scheduled shows like the showing of the new Ford products and conventions for Sylvania. I did contracts for the different stars that appeared in these shows, including you may want to take this pause out of here.
You're fine.
Katie Winters, who did the deodorant commercials. I forgot which deodorant company it was, but I remember her in particular because when she came to our studio for the filming, she asked someone if she could use their deodorant because what she had wasn't working. Now I don't know whether she was using the product she was filming for or not.
That's funny.
I also met Celeste Holmes there, and Phyllis Dillard, Gordon and Sheila Gray, and Charlie. I'm having trouble remembering his name. He was a crusty old guy, made comic parts. It may come back to me later, I can't remember it now.
Did you ever feel in any of these jobs like you were treated different because you were a woman?
Not in that particular job at Wilding. I didn't finish saying other things that I'd done. After that, I worked for advertising agencies, and I wasn't aspiring to anything greater than being a secretary. I was treated very nicely by my bosses. Later on, I had a job where I was an accountant, after more schooling, of course. And secretaries day came around, the men in the office insisted on me going out with secretaries because I was the only female in the office that wasn't a secretary. I was really familiar with my bag, but I enjoyed the lunch.
You guys have a good day?
Yeah, we did.
Good. Yeah, she did. Okay.
As an attorney, I did not face a lot of discrimination. I was discriminated on because of the fact that I was older. I didn't graduate from law school until I was 47. I had a heck of a time getting my first job. And when I interviewed for it, I really felt good about the interview, but they hired somebody else. And I had just graduated from law school and passed the bar. And the guy they hired failed the bar exam. So I found out the position was still open later, and I contacted them and asked them to reconsider. So they hired me, and I loved that job. That was my very favorite of all my jobs. I was an assistant state's attorney in Salem, Illinois, which is Marion County. And the men there felt a little strange about me at first. I think more because I was older than the fact that I was a female. And I discovered that every day after they finished their court proceedings, they would go to the local American Legion Hall, and they would have a couple of beers and then go home. So they invited me to go with them, and I didn't drink beer, but I went because I figured if I didn't get to talk with them, there's no way I could learn that job and do a good job at it. So I learned to drink Miller Lite and liked it. Never had more than one a day. But I would take my stack of files over there with me, and I would ask them about different things that I was questioning, procedures and the past backgrounds of some of the defendants and so on. And they were extremely helpful. That was a great job. But then my boss was promoted, he became a judge. So I left that job and I went to another county that I wasn't happy there. Same job that I'd had before, but I was only there about a year and a half. And then I got a job with the Attorney General's office, and I covered 12 counties in East Central Illinois doing child support cases. And there I didn't have a supervisor in the office, I was the supervisor. And there were 2 secretaries. And I was in court 4 or 5 days a week, depending. I was able to arrange my own schedule, so I could decide where I wanted to be when. And that was nice too, but we were wanting to get back to Springfield, Illinois, which was where we had lived before I went to law school and my husband's hometown. So then I heard that there was an opening on the Joint Committee of Administrative Rules in the state of Illinois. And I applied for that job, and I had it until I retired. I took early retirement because I ended up having a heart condition, and it seemed the wise thing to do. All in all, I only practiced law for 13 years, which I don't think it really did recoup all I'd spent to go to law school. So my advice for other women would be go soon to get your education and benefit from it more than I did. But I'm still not sorry I did it, because I had wanted to be a lawyer for quite a while.
That's awesome.
I've left a lot of things out.
What was your experience as a wife? Did you feel obligated to follow in the usual female role?
No. I was very fortunate. I married a man who knew how to cook and had been very helpful to his mother when he was growing up, because she was a single mother, and he was the type of person who would have dinner on the meal when his mother came home from work. So we shared cooking and cleaning and that sort of thing. When I went to law school, he did all the cooking and cleaning. No, we had a neighbor who came in and did some cleaning for us, but he did all the cooking. And after that, we shared.
That's really awesome, because usually it was, from what I've read in our book, it was that like the women felt the pressure to stay home and take care of everything.
Well, I think with my generation, it began changing.
Yeah.
My mother, of course, was a full-time homemaker, and assumed that's what her daughters would be.
Do you think women still face a lot of discrimination today?
Absolutely. A lot of it's overt, the same kind of discrimination that coloreds feel. It's very difficult for a woman to break the glass ceiling. And men resent women who are strong and opinionated. And we have to walk a very careful line. It's one of the things I liked about prosecuting when I was public prosecutor, because I didn't have to be nice. I could really say how things were.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you. Thank you for letting me interview you.
Oh, thank you. I consider myself privileged. Thank you.